Disco Elysium is one of the most talked about games of 2019, and we played some of it on stream, and it was easy to see just why this game has earned so many accolades. It is a game that is designed around one very specific concept of
Goodbye.
role playing, and if you fall into that group of people who like it, this will probably be one of your games of the year, maybe let alone games of the decade. It's just that interesting. If you don't fall into it, then you're going to probably quickly turn this one off. But the story is that we play as a detective in a fictionalized city, and after perhaps the most drunkenest night possible, we have literally forgotten everything: our job, name, even what we look like. But unfortunately, we are called to solve a murder. And we're going to have to figure things out literally on the job and see where they go. Now, a key aspect of this Elysium is the role playing. And this game features a very extensive system for how what choices you decide for your character will ultimately come back to affect you. How this works is at the beginning of the game, you'll choose your stats from the four categories you see on the left hand side of the screen. The higher you make each stat determines how far you can go in their respective skills, and that's what you see in that big row on the right. Every aspect of your personality basically takes a form of almost like a personified spirit that will come back to talk to you and give you information as you play. And this is where Disco Elysium just gets really crazy in terms of kind of your character customization. As you're talking to people, based on how high you raise your various character traits, you'll get more information. Basically, your own traits are kind of guiding or influencing you, and you can choose to ignore or take that advice as you see fit. And perhaps the most impressive aspect of Disco Elysium is that this is the closest I think we've seen a game yet come to essentially being a complete choose your own adventure. For those of you who remember the heyday of Telltale and kind of what we wanted to see grow for them, this is that next step in terms of that evolution. And the amount of freedom you have, I don't think I've seen a game go this far, at least outside of a traditional video game. I'm sure there are definitely levels of this in the pen and paper genre. And from what we looked up about the developer, I believe he has done pen and paper campaigns and worked in that space before. And this is where the freedom of Disco Elysium really takes hold. As you get further into the game, you'll be able to define more aspects of your character here, as well as kind of figure out or almost guide the story in terms of your own personal trial of him. This is not a game where you're trying to save the universe or just, be the chosen one. You're just some random guy in a city that has completely forgotten everything there is about him. And this game certainly breaks as many walls as we can possibly come up with in terms of its design. And if this channel was more about storytelling and narrative, we could easily dedicate like a good 30 minutes to an hour breaking this game down. However, we're not going to be able to do that. And after this quick shout out to our current Game Wisdom supporters and sponsors, we're going to talk about why this game may win a lot of awards from people, but I just don't think it's the right game for me. As I said at the start of this video, Disco Elysium is aimed at a very specific market of people who really want to play a narrative-focused RPG. However, there is nothing here from a gameplay loop standpoint. Every aspect of this game is about the player's choice, but there's no real involvement by the player in basically playing this game. As you saw right there, your various attributes, or the points that you apply and level up, dictate your chance of performing these tasks. There is no greater manipulation, there is no greater player involvement in Disco Elysium. And that, unfortunately, keeps me from really enjoying this game. Again, for longtime fans, you know that I've always been somebody who prefers mechanics and systems over story and narrative. And because of that, it makes it hard for me to recommend it on that front. But as I said, there is something very amazing here about Disco Elysium. This being like the first major game from the studio, and just pretty much coming out of nowhere. And I think this is going to be our next quintessential example of the power from the independent scene. Because there is no way in heck that a AAA company will have came up with a title like this. And I do feel that the studio has definitely earned all the praise and accolades they've gotten, and there are already talks about, I think, a companion book as well as a sequel planned. Now, when that comes out is anybody's guess. I would love to talk to developers about designing this game, because I can't help but assume that there were a whole lot of decision making and fascinating choices that went into a game about decision making and fascinating choices. So with that said, we're going to wrap up this first look here. If people want to see more of the game here on the channel, let me know. But otherwise, Disco Elysium, like I said, is probably going to be the best case example of just the full-on choose-your-own-adventure style design. If you're looking for a game that basically lets you define the character and let the story grow around it, you are going to go head over heels for Disco Elysium. If this doesn't sound interesting to you, then there's not going to be any real meat on the bone for you to enjoy this game. But, like I said, definitely a standout game, I think, to wrap up 2019 with. And I think this will be very fascinating to see what other role-playing style games will do going forward in terms of choice. And that ubiquitous quote of, "Every choice matters." But thank you for watching this video. Come back for daily discussions on game design here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games, break fourth walls, and have introspective discussions about everything. Until next time, this has been Disco Elysium, and I will see you all then. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed things, be sure to do all the liking and subscribing that the kids are doing these days. Check out our Discord channel link down below, where we hang out and chat game design, and come back later tonight for our regular streamings. But that's it, and tune in for more great content here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games.